Hello, everybody. Welcome to another part of our symposium here in WikiTree Week. You all have seen me 4 times today now, so I don't think I need to introduce myself. However, I'm excited to be here with my very good friend, AJ Jacobs. We're going to chat a little bit about an event we did together, but first, for those of you who might not be familiar with him, which I find that hard to believe, but let me go ahead and do a little intro about you. AJ is an author, a journalist, a lecturer, and a human guinea pig. He's written 4 New York Times bestsellers that combine memoir, science, humor, and a dash of self-help. He is also editor-at-large at Esquire magazine, a commentator on NPR, and a columnist for Mental Floss magazine. He held the biggest family reunion ever in 2015, which is what we'll be talking about a little bit today. In addition to his books, he writes for the New York Times, Entertainment Weekly, New York Magazine, Dental Economics magazine, which is one of the top 5 magazines about the financial side of tooth care, which all of us are very invested in. So that's a little bit about AJ. So how are you?
I am delighted to be here. You're one of my favorite cousins, even though you're distant. And I wore my Genealogy WikiTree shirt. Yeah. But I'm excited to talk about genealogy and this event that we did together that I still think about all the time. It was a real highlight of my life. It was crazy and delightful and stressful, but it was, I am so glad. And one of the main themes that you'll be hearing today is it would not have happened without Eowyn. She was, and I'll go into more detail, but she pulled this thing together, and I am forever grateful.
Well, we'll go into what it is in just a sec. I was just going to share this. We have someone who was there.
Hey, cousin! Thank you for being there and live tweeting it, as we called it back then. The innocent days of tweeting.
So why don't we just start? Oh, that's different. Oh, Azure has popped in. I wonder if something's wrong. I don't think so. Anyway, why don't we start? And do you want to just kind of give an overview of what the Global Family Reunion was, like how we got there?
Absolutely. As Eowyn said, it was 10 years ago, and the idea of it was an event that would be a family reunion for all 7 billion of our cousins, because the theme was everyone is related, even if they're distant, even if they're 50th cousins. And that was a theme of the book I was writing at the time. The book is called It's All Relative, and it was an exploration of genealogy and amazing sites like WikiTree, which are trying to connect us all. And I loved the idea that we're all connected, and to celebrate it, I thought, why not throw the massive family reunion of all time, and all 7 billion of our cousins were invited. We didn't get 100% turnout, if you remember, Eowyn, but
it was close.
We got, the main one was in New York City.
Yep.
At on the same grounds as the World Fair of 1964, and we had 4,000 people. But then there were all of these branch parties around the world simultaneously live streaming, 48 of them. And the event was sort of like, a Lollapalooza of genealogy. So we had speakers. We had Henry Louis Gates of Finding Your Roots. We had C.C. Moore, who is the DNA expert. We had Sister Sledge come sing "We Are Family" live on stage, and they changed the lyrics a little because it was all my sisters and me. They changed to all my cousins. And it was, I was so out of my depth because I am a writer. I am not an event organizer. I don't work, putting on Coachella. So this was massive. And as I said, without Eowyn, it would not have existed. Her official title was Chief Cousin Coordinator. So she would, whenever someone said they were coming, Eowyn and her team would figure out how they're related, either by blood or marriage, using WikiTree. But she did so much more than that. She helped organize the 48 branch parties, which were everywhere, from
all over the world.
all over New Zealand. They were in India, Mexico,
Yeah.
and she also wrote the blog. She wrote a section of the book about how to do genealogy. So, as I say, without her, it would have been a disaster.
Well, I was not an event planner either, so it's pretty
We were,
miraculous that we did what we did.
it is unbelievable. Yeah, we had quite the learning curve.
Yeah, for sure. Learn as we go. That's how that went. So, like we were saying, it's been 10 years, which is super crazy to think about. But when you kind of think back to that kind of whirlwind time, what's the first memory that comes to your mind?
That's a good. I have so many memories, and it's a mixed bag of emotions. Because, as I said, it was in some ways wonderful, but in some ways super stressful to put on a party for 4,000 people. But I do one memory that I always think of is these two strangers I just passed by, and they had no idea who the other one was, but they said, hey cousin, and then they hugged and laughed, and it was that's what I wanted. That was
Yeah.
the whole point. Because one of the themes of the book is that hopefully once we realize that we're all related in this massive family tree, we'll be a little less assaholic, if that's an adjective, to each
We'll
other.
take it.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure that has panned out, but a little, and we can talk about that later. There's been some fascinating recent developments based on the global family reunion, which
cool.
give me hope. Yeah.
All right, we'll get to that. But what inspired you to take on? I mean, that was a big and bold endeavor to do something like that. So, like, essentially, we were trying to unite the whole world through genealogy. Like, that's not a small thing. So, what inspired you to take that on?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a writer, so I've written several books about all sorts of topics. I like to dive in where I wrote one about the Bible, trying to live by all the rules of the Bible. I wrote one about health, and I was actually looking for my next book idea when I got an email from a man in Israel who said, you don't know me, but I've read some of your books, and I'm your 12th cousin. And I thought immediately, all right, he's going to ask me to send him $10,000 to a Nigerian prince or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, he wasn't scamming me. He was just I don't think he was on WikiTree. I think he had created his own massive, which has probably been merged into WikiTree now. But he had several thousand people on, and he was my 12th cousin. Probably we were related other ways too. And I said, wow, this is so fascinating. And then once I started to dive into it and realized there are even bigger trees like WikiTree, I said, this is a great, with so much tribalism and factionalism, this is a great metaphor of some hope that we're all related. And also at the time, I think genealogy had already started to pick up. I think now it's even bigger, but you had Henry Louis Gates of Finding Your Roots, who was at the Global Family Reunion. You had that show that Lisa Kudrow produced. I forget the name.
Who Do You Think You Are?
Yeah, Who Do You Think You Are? And Roots Tech, which I went to, and that was fascinating. Actually, Roots Tech, I spoke there probably 10 years ago. Yeah. I think that might have been my largest live audience I've ever spoke to, because I think there were like 8,000 people in attendance.
Yeah, it was huge.
And I was the warm-up guy for Donny Osmond. So that was something. And I think everyone was like, can we just see Donny Osmond? But they had to sit through me, and it was a great experience.
Very cool. Yeah, that's right. I'd forgotten about Donny. Sorry, Donny. So when you look back now, what do you think that whole global family reunion accomplished that, we couldn't have predicted back then?
Well, I hope it, people, I mean, I still have people come up to me and say, I was there and it was very cool. As I mentioned, it was not fun for me because I was just worried the whole day.
Yeah.
Is there a drone? The drone photograph, is the drone gonna fall and hit someone in the head and sue me for $1 million? So I was not relaxed. But in retrospect, I am glad that other people had a good time. And I'll just go quickly into one of the things that happened in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Which was I was contacted by these two social scientists at Oxford who had done a study using the global family reunion. And the study was they are trying to figure out ways to have people think more globally, to reduce hatred. And the experiment they did, which is published, I forget which journal, but it's a fancy journal.
Yeah.
And the experiment was I did a TED talk around the same time as the Global Family Reunion, all about the Global Family Reunion and inviting people. So they show people, they took 100 people and they showed 50 of them my TED talk. And then they showed 50 of them something else. I don't know, Tom and Jerry cartoon. and then they asked them a series of questions, or they did a series of experiments like, here's $10 and here's a stranger. You can keep all the $10 all to yourself, or you can give the whole thing, or you can give 5. And they found people were more generous towards strangers, more pro-social after watching this video about how we're all related. And I was like, that is awesome.
That's so cool.
So one of the people I'm in touch with, and he's starting a movement, or I guess it's a sort of an association, a group to try to promote this idea to reduce tribalism and create. So that was
That's amazing.
So cool. Like, it was actually in science, and there were headlines in Science. Like,
that's so cool. See, you had this idea and this theory 10 years ago,
right?
And, things are showing that.
Well, I hope
we can care.
It's not flawless. You might have noticed there is still some tribalism, and
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, good.
I thought we were all fine.
If you don't look at any media,
look at nothing.
Yeah,
we're all good. There's no problems.
But that is yes. I just think it's one method. It's not the only method we need to try to get out of this disaster, but it is one method that might help further our thinking.
We can hope so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did all of that shape the way that you think about identity and belonging today?
Well, I do try. I talked in the book about how it does affect me on a personal level. Like, it is a very good mental tactic. So when someone cuts me off on the highway, my immediate instinct, get angry, what a jerk. And then I try to think, you know what? We probably shared a 12th great grandfather and grandmother. So maybe I should give him or her the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, maybe they're going to visit their sick relative in the hospital. And it just takes the edge off a little. Same thing I remember when I was researching the book, and you found how I was related to Judge Judy, that I am a blood relation, maybe 6 cousins. And I had always found her incredibly abrasive and unpleasant. But then when I heard she's my cousin, I kind of had a little reframe. I'm like, well, maybe she's not so bad. She's just, doing her shtick, and underneath, she's actually quite a lovely person. So I feel that it is a good mental trick to try to reduce my and my tribal anger and be a little kinder to others. So that is one big thing. I also, I mean, I just think it is fascinating to see how this idea that we're all related has taken off, with WikiTree growing, and I think we were one of, maybe not the first, but we certainly promoted the idea of, like, here's a famous person, how are they related to this other famous person?
Yeah.
So, and WikiTree actually had a tool that you could put two people in, and I don't know if you still have that.
Let me put in a plug for the relationship finder and the connection finder. They are still there. You can plug in two people, and there are ways you can do more than two people, but let's not complicate it. You can put in two people and see how they're related by blood or connected by, marriages and stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, those are super fun. But I see every couple of months there's another news article like, oh, Larry David and Bernie Sanders are related, because Larry David played him on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And then they'll just take two people and figure out how they're related, and they'll publish it as this breaking news. We all know it's not really breaking news because everyone is related.
Everybody's related somehow.
But it is a good, it is something. It's, people like it, and I think it's fun too.
It's a common ground, I think, that we can find with literally anybody if we're trying to. Does it make you feel more connected in the world, or more grounded, or that you have a place in the world where you kind of belong?
I do. I this was an interesting experiment. I went through all of my books and looked at what are the most underlined passages by people on Kindle, because it shows up, and you can go to any book like War and Peace and see what are the most popular passages. So I did that with my book, It's All Relative, and it was very instructive. And one of them was about just that idea. It was about, and I think it's actually interesting. I'll go over a couple of the other popular genealogical passages, so to give a sense of what people are interested in genealogy wise. But one was this idea of Charles Darwin. He wasn't just a scientist, he was also a moral thinker, and he said that we should have a circle of moral concern, a circle of compassion. So you start with your family, and then maybe your neighborhood, then your town, then your country, then the world. So it's this expanding circle. And I think with the fact that everyone's your family, it helps make it more expand a little easier. Let me tell you a couple of the other popular passages, because I think they're interesting in what they reveal. One was, people are interested in the idea of family is not just about DNA, that, because there are many ways. There's adoption, and then there's sort of close friends that you consider family. So one writer, Andrew Solomon, who wrote a book called Far from the Tree, and his language is horizontal family and vertical family. So horizontal family is people who share your passion or worldview, and vertical family is people who are your parents, kids, grandparents. I've also heard logical family and biological family. That's another way people think. All right, let me read you two more that I thought were interesting. One was, because the book was about genealogy, but also about what does family mean and how should we treat family. And I knew George H.W. Bush and Barbara Bush, his wife, before they died, because she has a charity about literacy and promoting literacy. So I went and I interviewed them in Texas, and I asked how they had a marriage, 70 years or whatever. And I said, what are some of the secrets? And she said, this was underlined by hundreds of people. Mrs. Bush answered that you should treat your spouse like you treat your friends. So you clean your house for your friends, you make sure they're taken care of, and a spouse often comes second. So treat your spouse like a friend. Don't go halfway. If each spouse goes 75% of the way, it is a perfect match. And I actually don't think that just relates to spouses. I think in any relationship, you think you're doing more than you are. So overcompensate.
Overdo it.
Yeah, overdo it. And then the other passage was very interesting because it was from Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astronomer. And he is an interesting character because I asked if I could interview him for the book. And he said that Henry Louis Gates had approached him about doing Finding Your Roots. And he told Henry Louis Gates, not interested. So he's sort of the anti-genealogy spokesman. He's like a genealogy skeptic. So it is important to see that point of view. And I'll read you. This was kind of funny. He forwarded me the email that he sent to Henry Louis Gates, turning him down. And I thought, this is a very well-written email. I asked him, can I put it in my book? And he said, yes, if you pay me $200. I was like, all right, well, sure. I mean, it was worth it because it turned out to be one of the most underlined. But so I paid my cousin, Neil deGrasse Tyson, $200. And I'll just read you a section of it. He says he is more interested. He says, I don't look to family lineage for inspiration. I look to all human beings. So he says the genius of Isaac Newton, the courage of Gandhi and MLK, the bravery of Joan of Arc, the athletic feats of Michael Jordan, the compassion of Mother Teresa. I look to the entire human race because he thinks that that's makes more sense than just looking at someone who shares more DNA with you. We all share a tremendous amount of DNA, so why not look to the most inspiring? And that's why he says he doesn't focus on who his ancestors were as much as who in humanity has been the most inspiring. But of course, since we're all related, he is looking at his cousins.
I was going to say, Steve, we all think about that kind of stuff too, but then we go to see how we're related or connected to those people.
Exactly. That's the glory of WikiTree.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see it in the chat, but they're all talking about how many degrees they are from you. So see, we can't help ourselves.
Wait, I want to see the chat. I'm just looking. Oh, there it is. Oh, I didn't know the chat was on. Sorry. Okay, great. Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a 20. I think 20 is the closest to you so far.
20th cousin? Very close.
20 degrees. So 20 steps from you, like a 6th degree of Kevin Bacon kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have Thanksgiving coming up, so come on over.
Go to his house. It's nice.
Well, this person is your 7th cousin. That's quite close.
Yeah, that's Azure. Actually, I think she's the closest one, like outside of obvious cousins, that I think I have on here right now.
Very cool.
She's one of our team members. That's Azure.
Hi, Azure.
So, yeah. So, see, we can't help it. As soon as you say someone's name or a person, I'm surprised they're not checking to see how they're connected to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Exactly. Well, I will tell you, it was an interesting, in terms of making connections and networking, WikiTree turned out to be a very good tool. And I think it still would work because I would email these people that I didn't know. And I would say, I know this sounds strange, but we're 14 cousins through marriage. So can I interview you? And that is actually how I knew George W. Bush, H.W. Bush, but that's how I approached his press person. I was like, can I interview him as a friend, as a cousin?
As a cousin.
And the same with when the book came out, it was actually very useful, and people can try this as a networking. I said I would write a reporter from the New York Times or whatever and say, hey, just so you know, we're 12th cousins. Now, of course, there was a 20% chance it would backfire and they would be freaked out and, block you, never contact me again. But I'd say 80% of the time people were.
It worked a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something that people get excited about.
Yeah, it's very
like 30s. Even when it's like 14th cousin 6 times removed, we're still all like, yeah, it's great. Like,
Exactly. It's a connection. We love connections.
Yeah, we love connections.
Hello, 19 degrees from AJ.
Love it. I think that one's your closest so far. See, now they're doing Degrassi types.
That's hilarious.
Let's see. Let's name another one we can get him to do. Henry Gates. We said him. Mother Teresa. That would be a tough one.
Yeah. Well, there were some great speakers at the Global Family Reunion, and you always found out who they were related to. Dr. Oz, who I think he has embraced some questionable beliefs now, but he's also a nice guy, or has been nice to me. So he was there, and I know you connected me to him. Oh, in addition to Sister Sledge, there was a woman whose name was Jill Sobule.
Yeah, she wrote her song.
She wrote we actually had 2 cousin songs, 2 anthems, and she wrote one of them. She was awesome. She recently died.
I saw that.
Yes, very sad. But she wrote a song that maybe I'll share a link to it in the comments. But it was I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to upset my cousins listening. But she said things like, hello, we're all cousins, was the theme. Cousins, we're all cousins. I'm your cousin, don't you know? We're all cousins, don't it show? But then she would have lyrics like, say hello to your cousin across the street. Hello to your cousin in Tennessee. Your crush, your love, your enemy. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. Will a priest and a rabbi walk into a bar with the Dalai Lama and a movie star? There's Janice and Jimmy and Kurt Cobain. We're all going home on the very same train. You're my cousin, you're my kin. Let the party now begin. So just a
good words.
Yeah, so fun.
That's a good one. Yeah, that was.
Jill Sobule. There she is on WikiTree.
Yep. Tell us how you're connected to Jill.
Yes, I would love to know.
So I think we've sort of touched a bit on these next couple of questions, but in your view, what role there's collaborative genealogies now much more kind of accepted and a thing than it was 10 years ago. So what do you think that platforms like WikiTree and that sort of thing play in helping connect people today, especially when we're in this age of kind of digital isolation?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, this could not have happened without WikiTree because, the traditional family tree, even if it's a few hundred, you can't make these connections to everyone in the world. So WikiTree, the fact that WikiTree existed was absolutely crucial. And I will say one thing about WikiTree and other genealogy sites. I think the internet is a tool like everything, and it can be used for good or for bad. There are so many platforms out there that are dividing us.
Yeah.
And like even Facebook, which was meant originally to connect us, its algorithms now shove us into these little silos. Corners. Yeah, where we are people who agree with us are featured and anyone else is. So WikiTree, I think, is a wonderful example of how technology can actually be good and used for good. Now I've totally forgotten the question. What was the question?
I think that was a good answer to it. It was just, can platforms like us, like what role do they play in connecting people today, which I think you kind of touched on. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the other interesting thing is a lot of when I'm online, when I'm at my laptop, I mean, there is, in a certain sense, I'm very alone. But I love that WikiTree is all about connecting to other humans. So that's another reason I think it's terrific.
And I'll just, I got to put a plug in for WikiTree because, WikiTree. But we have this amazing community of members that just are really connected, and new people are coming every day. And I think it's one of the things that set us apart from most other places is we just have this really thriving, generous, like knowledgeable, kind community. So yeah, it's good for that.
Oh yeah, no, it was amazing. When I reached out, I was a little nervous when I reached out to WikiTree at the beginning. I reached out to Chris, I think, because I was worried he would think I was trying to steal his thunder or something, or make fun of it. But I was very relieved that not only was he, he liked the idea, but he and Eowyn and a bunch of other people, mostly Eowyn, went all in and made it actually happen.
Yeah, we saw, I remember this, we saw you did an article, maybe it was for NPR or something, where you talked about what you were trying to do. And Chris and I were like, oh my gosh, it's someone who's embracing like this global family idea that we're trying to do here. Like we were already excited about it before I think you guys were ever able to talk. So.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Like, maybe they'll think that it was the same way. My first book was about reading the Encyclopedia Britannica from A to Z and trying to learn everything in the world, which I've forgotten 99.9% of. But I was super nervous. I didn't contact the Britannica for the first 3 months because I thought, well, what if they hate the idea? And that will be a bummer. But they didn't, and just like WikiTree embraced it.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we can shift gears a little bit here. So you have often said curiosity drives your work. I think anybody who has spent 2 minutes with you knows that you are a very curious person. So what is something that you're curious about right now?
Well, as I was telling you right before this, and I want to ask you and those in the chat how this is affecting genealogy. But a couple of months ago, well, just to back up really quickly, 2 years ago, I wrote an article for the New York Times trying to show how omnipresent plastic is in our lives. It's everywhere. So the challenge was, can I spend 24 hours without touching anything plastic, not even touching it? And I mean, that was crazy because our clothes contain plastic, our food and our water even, the carpet I'm walking on is plastic. So it was quite a challenge. And the editor wanted to do a sequel, but this time, instead of plastic, AI. Can I go 48 hours this time without interacting with AI in any way? Now, it may seem a little easier on the face of it, like I just don't do ChatGPT searches. I don't look at Netflix recommendations. But it turns out that AI is everywhere, and it is much, much harder than I thought, especially if you consider AI, there's a big umbrella, and it's not just ChatGPT, but it's also machine learning. So anything where it evolves. So Netflix recommendations. And it turns out Con Edison, my energy company, uses machine learning to figure out how to route the energy. And my reservoir system uses machine learning to figure out where the demand is going to be. So I couldn't drink water. I couldn't turn on the light. It was like an Amish. I was like Amish for 2 days. But I I was glad because I was a little resistant to diving into AI because it scares me, and it still does. But this kind of forced me to go deep on it. But one area I did not explore too much is how is it affecting the genealogy world? So can I pose to you, what is going on with AI and genealogy?
So actually, Thomas McCanty just did a good talk this morning a little bit about AI. Some people have really embraced it and are running with it, and some people are not interested in using it at all. And then there's a lot of us that are just kind of in the middle ground, but there's quite a lot you can use it for. So like Thomas was showing this morning, you can use it to pull facts out of. So if you have like a little excerpt about your ancestor in a book, you can have like ChatGPT pull the data, like, you know, their birth date, their death, like the important facts from that excerpt. It can organize it for you. You can say like, hey, make it like a short story for a newsletter if you're doing like a family newsletter, and it'll write it in a little short story form. It can pull the data and put it in a spreadsheet for you. It can index, you know, a lot of times we have these genealogy books from like many, many years ago, and there's no surname index in them.
Right.
So AI can create a surname index for you. People use them to write biographies or to generate timelines. There's a lot it can transcribe. So I've used it. I have this soldier archive I got a long time ago that I'm finally getting around to organizing. And half the letters are in Polish because he was from Poland originally. So I'm using AI to transcribe them and then translate them.
That is just, we got a comment. Someone translate our obituaries in foreign languages.
Yes. So translations, transcriptions, you know, there's quite a lot that you can do with it.
Yeah.
For genealogy.
I mean, I would say, and I'm sure you do this, but this experiment made me think it's an amazing tool as long as you triple fact check it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because 80%, I would say 80% of what I got was real, and 20% was just totally hallucinations, fabricated.
It will make stuff up.
It'll make stuff up, and it says it with such authority that you're like, oh, it must be so.
It must be true.
Everything I fact check. I mean, early on, I don't know if this is still the case. My son said, asked ChatGPT about me and said, who are AJ Jacobs' kids? And named two of them correctly, Zane and Jasper. And then it said, and he also has a daughter named like Bria. And I don't have a daughter, and she's not named Bria, but it had a whole story about how I loved gazelles, and this was the Swahili word for gazelle. I was like, wow. That is some creativity, but not true.
It's so crazy. Like, so we wanted to know the scores from like the NFL games from over the weekend a couple weeks ago. So I just asked for that, and it gave me this list of like 4 or 5 games, and none of them were real games. Like, it had the scores and the players in them and like descriptions of what happened. And so my husband's trying to find these games for us to watch, and none of them were real games.
That
is just
hilarious.
Totally made up the whole thing. So yeah, you have to be careful.
And it brings up something that I thought about a lot when I was doing the genealogy project, which was a lot of times trees, like a family tree is very binary. It's like you're either a relative for sure or you're not. But I found a lot of times it was like, I'm 70% sure that this person's name is spelled accurately. I'm 50% sure. So I thought, is there a way to represent that on a tree? Like, could it be that it's more, if it's 99%, it's like black. If it's 50%, it's gray. Some way to visually remind me this is not. And the problem with ChatGPT is that it's everything is black and white. Everything is like, this is true.
Yeah.
So that is that. So, I just don't want it to contribute to the epistemological problems.
Yes. Yeah, you do have to be careful and check things for sure. Let's see. Okay.
I'd love to hear some questions from you all if you have any. So
throw questions in the chat. He'll answer
Or for
anything.
Eowyn. I mean, Eowyn, as I said, she did so much more on the genealogy side of this than I did. Well, let me turn the tables for 1 second
Oh,
to
okay.
you.
I'm
Yeah,
scared.
so let me ask about you. It's been 10 years
10
since the
years.
global family reunion. When you think back, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I mean, there were so many great feelings from that. I'll just say, like, the highlight for me from that was I got to be friends with you.
Oh,
Like, and you're one of my
that is a
favorite
highlight.
cousins, and that's, I'm always tickled when I see an email from you. I'm like, he's the best New York best time seller. I get an email from him, and I think that we can still be friends 10 years later is a good example of what that whole thing was all about.
Oh my goodness. You're
So
making me
that's
emotional. That is
good.
so true.
Yeah.
That is one of the best things. I should have said it right up front. I got to meet.
I'm offended that you didn't, but I'll be okay.
Fair
But
enough.
I just was. I have guilt. Do you want me to share with you some of my guilt from the whole
Sure,
thing?
please. You should
So
not, but I should have guilt. Yeah.
you should not, but we got thousands and thousands of emails from people. We had a little form that people could fill out and submit, and we were trying to find connections and genealogy for all these people. And there were just thousands and thousands of them. And they just, we did as much as we could in the time frame that we had, but there's so many of those that just are now sitting there in the global family reunion Gmail. And so, I wish we could have gotten everybody that
Right.
emailed, but there, tons of people just, you really sparked something in people that hadn't thought a lot about genealogy or their ancestors or connections like that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was just the wave, and you guys did such a great job connecting as many as you could, but it was just, maybe in 2 years we can run them all through ChatGPT and figure it out that way.
Maybe.
All right, well, let me ask you another one. Let's see. Well, I was just looking back, and you wrote a section on sort of an intro of how to do genealogy for people who are interested. And you probably don't remember what you wrote, but is there anything in the last 10 years that you would change, that you would add to your guide to starting a family tree?
I gotta say, I kind of doubt it. There's a pretty, good way to go about starting. Talk to your family, talk to the people who are alive.
Right.
Get their stories while you can. Get them to tell you who are in all the photos that don't have names on the back of them. Start there. Like, start with the people you can talk to, and then work back from there.
Like, did you use, when you interview your family, do you use like a list? I know there's some great lists of questions online. Did you use that or just go by your own?
I made a list. There's my list is out there somewhere.
Oh, I would love to link to that.
I'll have to find it. Yeah, I wrote a list of questions, I think, for the WikiTree blog a long time ago.
Oh, perfect. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we can surf for that. By the way, I see a note from Cyper Surfer.
Yes.
My Cyper Surfer. And she writes, or he, I'm sorry, we need to have another reunion, please. Did not go to the last one because was not into genealogy back 10 years ago.
And that goes with Azure's too. She said, when is the next one?
Robson, yes. Well, I would love it, as would Eowyn. But I tell you, it was, first of all, I broke even on this. I barely broke even because it costs a lot.
It did cost a lot.
So luckily we had sponsors, like WikiTree was a sponsor, and some of the other companies.
Yep.
But basically I'm a writer, and that's where I make my money. So, but I couldn't, for like 8 to 10 months, I couldn't do anything but organize this. So financially, it was not the most wise thing. So that is, but I would love for someone who's inspired to try to throw. another one, and maybe we don't have to do like the one big one. Maybe it's more like we do because as we said, we had 48 branch parties, as we called them.
My brain immediately was like, well, we can maybe do like a virtual one and have the branch parties. And then I was like, stop it, brain.
It's so true.
That's a rabbit hole. That's a big rabbit hole.
It is true, but I would love to do it again. It was maybe for like 20. Maybe we should shoot for like the 20th anniversary. That gives us a little runway.
We have some planning time.
I love it. Or even 15.
We could do 15.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Something.
Yeah.
Plan something.
That's your brain. What about an online party, says Myers? Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, was like a virtual party.
And that was part of it. We had the 48 branch parties all zooming in at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I mean, the biggest one, I believe, was in Salt Lake City, because
they had thousands, right?
Yeah.
They did a party. They did like the huge, right? They had like a big block party.
They had a big block party. And I will say the LDS Church was hugely instrumental in this project too, because they were so helpful and into it. And, we needed hundreds of people to staff the reunion in New York on the day. And, and there were LDS
they got the missionaries to come.
They got like 100 or more missionaries to come. So so Cypress Surfer
has announced
that the 20-year reunion is a go. So
you don't want a 15? What if we said 15?
Yeah, no, maybe exactly.
Too funny.
Wait, what does 4 times a year we call them? Oh,
WikiTree does. Yeah, every quarter we have these big 72-hour marathon events.
Right, or the Olympics.
We did that one year too.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. Dear Myrtle organized a virtual branch party on Second Life. I remember.
That's right. Yes. They did that. Yeah.
That was awesome. And I do remember another fond memory was that in Buffalo there was a branch party at a cemetery.
Oh, that's right.
A huge cemetery with 60,000. So the owner of the cemetery wrote, we take care of 60,000 souls. Can we count those towards the attendance? And I was like, sure. I have no problem.
Why not?
Exactly. Oh, well, thank you for reading the book. It's definitely available online. A library definitely, hopefully has it anyway.
So we'll just we're getting close to time, so I'll do one more question for you. And that's, what gives you hope about the future of storytelling and truth and connection?
Great question. Yes, because we do need hope, because there's a lot to be nervous about. I guess what gives me hope is, one, that ideas like this one can spark some goodness in the world, like that Oxford professor said. And I also think, and maybe this is naive, that humans do want to get along. And we've only gotten as far as we have because of cooperation. So I actually read a very interesting book called Moral Tribes, by a Yale professor. And he said, the beauty of humans is that we do have an instinct to cooperate. It's why we were able to make these amazing inventions. No one person working alone could have invented, writing or, engines or anything, electricity. So that's the wonderful part. The sad part, the tragic part is that we seem to have an instinct to say, we're cooperating, but there's also a them. The us always implies a them. So we've got our group, and then there's the others. So he wrote, our challenge coming up is, can we have an us without the them? And maybe genealogy is one way to approach this, because it's not us versus them, it's us versus
us versus us versus us.
Exactly, us versus us, and not versus us, or us and
us.
my 17th cousin.
Yeah.
So that might be that gives me a little hope.
I like it.
And thank you for reading my books.
She's read all of them, she said.
Oh, I'm very honored. Very honored. Don't know about that one. Well, if you like it, now you do. You are welcome to. I think, did I give a talk about it? I don't know. But you don't have to buy it if it doesn't interest you, but there's stuff online you can read for free.
There you go.
There you go. Well, Eowyn, thank you again for taking me down this trip. And for, as I say, making the global family reunion possible, and for being my friend. I love that.
Yes. Thank you for being here. It's really fun to always get to chat with you during this. So
it's my favorite. Yeah. Please invite me back next year.
We will find a way to get you in there.
All right, great. And thank you all for coming. That was super fun.
Thanks, everybody.